Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at Persona 3 Portable for the PSP and Vita. The game was released in 2011 and was developed by Atlus and published by Ghostlight. Persona 3 Portable is a trimmed down version of the original Persona 3 for the PlayStation Portable handheld and throws together new music, characters and events. So if you're wondering if I've already played Persona 3 or Persona 3 FES, is Persona 3 Portable worth playing at all, even if you have played these other games previously? Well, here's a more detailed look on what this game has to offer. Portable's story is identical to that of the original Persona 3, with you being the main character arriving in a new city, learning about the Dark Hour, Tartaros, and Shadows. The story is essentially identical, but has been slimmed down a little due to the limitations of the PlayStation Portable handheld system, and now some events have been cut back or just simply removed altogether. It's still the same great story, but because of the PSP having its limits on what it can do, it's just told ever so slightly differently. The main difference being that the answer quest isn't here, and even though this was made after FES, I kind of expected it to be here, but it just isn't. I can understand why, it just kind of seems a little odd for it not to be there. The game's story also differs now, as right from the very start of the game, you can change the perspective on things, by instead of having the blue-haired no-speak main character, you can now play as a bubbly female character, which we're going to get onto now. Character-wise, everyone is the same, aside from the biggest and best new feature being that you can change the main character. Instead of playing the main character from Persona 3, you can now play as a female main character. The female main character has a lot more life and personality to her. She has actual conversations with the other Sears team members, and she has better options dialogue-wise. She just feels more fleshed out and more real. You might not think that changing one character would make much of a difference, but here it really does. This time around as the female main character, I find myself actually enjoying the conversations. I said before in my Persona 3 FES review that the biggest gripes I had with that game was that it was a grind fest, but also that none of the characters felt like they even cared about each other. Yet in Persona 3 Portable, as the female main character, everyone feels closer, and as if they do care about each other. It's still not on the same scale as Persona 4's closeness with the group, but with the female main character taking the reins, it's a huge step forward. It's like she is the glue that brings everyone together, and makes the game just a more enjoyable experience. When it comes to Portable's gameplay, it's a huge 50-50 split. On the plus side, combat has been improved upon, and now has elements of Persona 4, with the ability to now finally control the other characters via direct command, such as what you could do right from the very start in Persona 4. On the negative side, however, because the PlayStation Portable is limited on what it can do, rather a lot has been scaled down, ranging from characters, enemies, and a whole host of other things. Yet on the plus side, you also have better graphics, you have better characters, and you have better music, and generally things just go back and forth throughout. Some changes are good, while other changes just bring the game down. I do love the improvements to the combat system, and I do like how the game has streamlined a few things. However, it does feel like everything else has had to suffer because of it. Here is the biggest change that's happened with Portable, its graphics. Gone are the open 3D roaming areas, and instead they've been replaced with a more visual novel look and appearance. Now with the Portable, the graphics have taken a different direction due to the limitations of what the PSP has available, and instead of the characters being fully 3D rendered with their animations and such, they instead appear more 2D but with a 3D appearance to them, while not actually being 3D. The only real time this changes is once the Dark Hour happens, and you're inside Tartaros exploring the many floors it has to offer. Only when roaming the dungeons or in combat do the game's graphics change from a visual novel look and vibe to the more well-known look of what Persona 3 has. I don't think the graphics are bad per se, I do understand that things did have to be changed in order for the port to even happen, It's just that, if anything, I don't feel that the new visual novel vibe really clicks well with the new 3D rendered battle system or the exploration parts in Tartaros. It just feels as if they're trying to mix two games together here that don't really work. Another huge change in the game is its environments. All the 3D created areas, aside from Tartaros and the combat scenes, are all now gone. Instead, in their place are more extremely lower level textured drawings of the areas from the third game. So instead of seeing the Dawn from the perspective that you would expect, you instead see it in a more Persona 2 style, with the view being from above at an angle, while you look down at a new drawn created image of the Dawn. You can move the cursor around and still interact with characters, but environment wise, it feels a lot more like a point and click type of game now, as you no longer control a fully 3D rendered character in a 3D rendered environment, unless of course you're in Tartaros. So what ends up happening is you start to see the Dark Hour as a type of treat, as it's practically the only time you get to see the game properly fully 3D rendered. Yet just like in my Persona 3 Fez review, I'm going to say it here too. The Tartaros environments are extremely boring. All the floors look identical, new blocks just look the same but with a new lick of paint. So this really shouldn't be what you consider a treat, simply because it's the only time that you get to see the game's graphics and environments at their very best. If you're not sure about purchasing the game and are on the fence about it, I'm going to be honest, Persona 3 Portable is a novelty and only worth it if you can get the game on an extremely cheap sale price. You can get the game off the PlayStation Network for the PSP and Vita, but its asking price is just way too much for what little it has to offer. I can only really recommend this game if it was around $4.99, because even at $9.99 I still feel like I would be asking too much from customers. It's not anywhere near as good as what it could have been. Everything aside from the combat has taken a downgrade. The music, while fantastic, is limited, and while I do absolutely love the female main character, I just feel that she's being used to essentially prop up the entire game and sell it to new and existing customers. Don't get me wrong, it's still a good game, but I just don't get why so much had to suffer in order for the port to happen. We have seen with other PSP games before, like the Metal Gear Solid series, that fully 3D rendered environments can be done, and done well. The game could have had a better mix with its 3D and 2D sections, while still having the new visual novel look, feel and vibe to it. It could have still had the areas like the Dawn fully 3D rendered, with your character being visible and also being fully 3D rendered, but it just doesn't. I do fully understand the limitations of what was available in order to produce this port. I just can't help feel like it could have been done better without us given a little more time and had put a little more effort into it. Yes, the PSP is a limited handheld and it can only hold so much, and truth be told, I wasn't expecting a perfect port of Persona 3 from the PS2 on the PSP. I knew it was going to be streamlined and I knew it had to be limited in order for it to be ported. I just feel like too much was lost in its translation. It's a good game, but it just feels very unfinished. Well, that's it for this video guys. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.